Hello guys, my name is Shayok Giri. I am an intern at Intellify, and in this video we'll discuss about KNN algorithm, which is a widely used yet a simple supervised learning algorithm used in machine learning. So in pattern recognition, the K nearest neighbors algorithm, which is the full form of KNN obviously, is a non-parametric method used for classification as well as regression problems. The KNN algorithm is a type of supervised machine learning algorithms, which means that the data set should be labeled. That is, we should have a defined target or the response variable. KNN is extremely easy to implement in its most basic form and yet performs quite complex classification tasks. It is mainly used for classification. It is very rarely used for regression problems. It is a lazy learning algorithm since it does not have a specialized training phase. We use all the training data to train the KNN algorithm. Rather, it uses all of the data for training by classifying a new data point or instance. KNN is a non-parametric learning algorithm, which means that it does not assume anything about the underlying data, that we do not assume an underlying distribution of the input data. This is an extremely useful feature since most of the real world data does not really follow any theoretical assumption. Example, linear separability, uniform distribution, normal distribution, Cauchy distribution, etc. So it is called non-parametric. Although nearest neighbor algorithms, for instance the KNN for classification, are very simple algorithms, that's not why they are called lazy. KNN is a lazy learner because it does not learn a discriminative function from the training data, but memorizes the training data set instead. It uses all of the training data to train. For example, the logistic regression algorithm learns its model weights or parameters during training time. In contrast, there is no training time in KNN. Although this may sound very convenient, this property does not come without a cost, but that is, we have some trade-offs. The prediction step in KNN is relatively expensive. Each time we want to make a prediction, KNN is searching for the nearest neighbors in the entire training set. Note that there are certain tricks such as ball trees and KD trees to speed this up a bit, to speed up the prediction step. To summarize, an eager learner has a model fitting or training step. A lazy learner does not have a specific specialized training phase. The intuition behind the KNN algorithm is one of the simplest of all the supervised machine learning algorithms. It simply calculates the distance of a new data point to all other training data points. The distance can be of any type, example Euclidean or Manhattan, etc. It then selects the k nearest data points where k can be any integer. Finally, it assigns the data point to the class to which the majority of the k points belong. In case you do not understand this paragraph, wait for a little bit in subsequent discussions, and in an example given after, it will be more clear. So let's come to KNN model representation. How is KNN represented? The simple answer is the model representation for KNN is the entire training data set, as it is a lazy learner, not an eager learner. KNN has no model other than storing the entire data set, so there is no learning required. Efficient implementations can store the data using complex data structures like KD trees to make lookup and matching of new patterns during prediction efficient. Because the entire training dataset is stored, we have to think carefully about the consistency of our training data. It might be a good idea to curate it, update it often as new data becomes available, and remove erroneous and outlier data. Let's see how KNN makes predictions. KNN makes predictions using the training dataset directly, as there is no such model. Predictions are made for a new instance X by searching through the entire training set for the k most similar instances, the neighbors or the k nearest neighbors, and summarizing the output variable for those k instances. For regression, this might be the mean output variable. In classification, this might be the mode or most common class variable. To determine which of the k instances in the training dataset are most similar to a new input, a distance measure is used. For real valued input variables, the most popular distance measure is Euclidean distance, or we can even use Manhattan distance. Euclidean distance is calculated as the square root of the sum of the square differences between a new point x and the existing point xi across all input attributes j. That is, Euclidean distance between x and xi is equal to root over summation of xj minus xij whole square. This we all know. Other popular distance measures which can be used in KNN algorithm are Hamming distance, that is calculating the distance between binary vectors, Manhattan distance, calculating the distance between real vectors using the sum of their absolute difference, also called city block distance, and Minkowski distance, that is a generalization of Euclidean and Manhattan distance. There are many other distance measures that can be used, such as Tamimoto, Jacquard, Mahalanobis distance, and cosine distance. We can choose the best distance metric based on the properties of our data. If we are unsure about which distance to use, we can experiment with different distance metrics and different values of k together and see which mix results in the most accurate models. We will come to the selection of the parameter, that is k, in the subsequent discussions, that is how to choose the optimum value of k. Euclidean is a good distance measure to use if the input variables are similar in type. Example, all measured widths and heights. Manhattan distance is a good measure to use if the input variables are not similar in type, such as age, gender, height, etc. Even if the input variables are not similar in type, we can simply scale the data, and after scaling we can use Euclidean distance. Now the value of k, that is the nearest neighbors, can be found by algorithm tuning. It is a good idea to try many different values of k and see what works best for your algorithm. That is simply hit and trial method. The computational complexity of KNN increases with the size of the training dataset. For very large training sets, KNN can be made stochastic by taking a sample from the training dataset from which to calculate the k most similar distances. Now, KNN has been around for a long time, as it is a very simple algorithm, very simple to visualize and implement, and has been very well studied. As such, different disciplines have different names for it. For example, some call it an instance-based learning, which means the raw training instances are used to make predictions. As such, KNN is often referred to as instance-based training learning, or a case-based learning, where each training instance is a case from the problem domain. Some call it a lazy learner, which means no learning of the model is required and all of the work happens at the time a prediction is requested. As such, KNN is often referred to as a lazy learning algorithm. Non-parametric, as we have discussed before, KNN makes no assumptions about the functional form of the problem being solved. As such, KNN is referred to as a non-parametric ML algorithm. Now, how do we implement KNN for regression? Which is very rarely used. We mainly use KNN for classification. When KNN is used for regression problems, the prediction is based on the mean or the median of the k most similar instances. Let's delve deep into this one. In KNN regression, the KNN algorithm is used for estimating continuous variables. That is, the output or the target variable is a continuous variable. One such algorithm uses a weighted average of the k nearest neighbors weighted by the inverse of their distance, the Euclidean distance that is most commonly used. This algorithm works as follows. Compute the Euclidean distance from the query example to the labeled examples. Order the labeled examples by increasing distance. Find a heuristically optimal number k of nearest neighbors based on the root mean square error, RMSE. This is done using cross-validation method. Then we calculate an inverse distance weighted average with the k nearest multivariate neighbors. This is very rarely used, so we would not talk much about it or give an example to illustrate it. Our main focus is KNN for classification. That is, how do we implement KNN as a classifier? When KNN is used for classification, the output can be calculated as the class with the highest frequency from the k most similar distances. Each instance, in essence, votes for their class, and the class with the most votes is taken as the prediction. We will illustrate it using an example afterwards. Class probabilities can be calculated as the normalized frequency of samples that belong to each class in the set of k most similar instances for a new data instance. For example, in a binary classification problem where there are only two classes, 0 or 1, yes or no, malignant or benign, probability of class 0 is equal to the frequency of class 0 by the total frequency. That is the count of class 0 and count of class 1. Similarly, probability of class 1 equal to the frequency of class 1 by the total frequency. If we are using k, if we are using k and we have an even number of classes, example 2, it is a good idea to choose a value of k which is an odd number to avoid a tie. Similarly, we should use an even number for k when we have an odd number of classes like 3 or 5. Ties can be broken consistently by expanding k by 1 and looking at the class of the next most similar instance in the training dataset. So this is how KNN is used as a classifier. So all seems very good for KNN, that is KNN is very simple to implement, but it doesn't come without a cost. That is, we have some trade-offs for using KNN. So what are the trade-offs? It's called curse of dimensionality. KNN works well with a small number of input variables, p, that is x1, x2 up to xp. If p equal to small, that is the number of explanatory variables are small, then KNN works satisfactorily, even better than most complex algorithms, but struggles when the number of inputs is very large because it fails to generalize the result on the training of the training set into the testing set. Each input variable can be considered a dimension of a p-dimensional input space. For example, if you had two input variables x1 and x2, the input space would be two-dimensional. As the number of dimensions increases, the volume of the input space increases at an exponential rate. In high dimensions, points that may be similar may have very large distances. All points will be far away from each other, and our intuition for distances in simple 2 and 3D spaces breaks down. That is, we cannot visualize KNN algorithm anymore. This might feel unintuitive at first, but this general problem is called the curse of dimensionality. That is, if we increase the dimensions, it becomes problematic. The curse of dimensionality refers to various phenomena that arise when analyzing and organizing data in high dimensional spaces, that is 5D or 4D or 6D spaces, often with hundreds or thousands of dimensions that do not occur in low dimensional settings such as the 3D physical space of everyday experience. So as KNN uses the distance metrics, we have to prepare our data such that it is feasible to use KNN algorithm. So what are the best ways of preparing data for KNN? We have to rescale the data, that is feature scaling, scaling the input features or the explanatory variables. KNN performs much better if all of the data has the same scale, that is the values of all the features are quite similar to each other. Normalizing your data to the range 0 or 1 is a good idea. It may also be a good idea to standardize your data if it has a Gaussian or a normal distribution. That is, we subtract the mean and divide by standard deviation. Addressing missing data. Missing data will mean that the distance between samples cannot be calculated. These samples could be excluded or the missing values could be imputed by using the values of the other feature variables. We have to guess the missing value, or we could simply do away with the missing value. Lower dimensionality. KNN is suited for lower dimensional data. You can try it on high dimensional data, but be aware that it may not perform as well as other techniques. KNN can benefit from feature selection that reduces the dimensionality of the input feature space. That is, we can use principal component analysis, PCA, to determine the best features and work with KNN algorithm using those features. There could be outliers in the data. So how does the KNN algorithm deal with outliers? The distance to the kth nearest neighbor can also be seen as a local density estimate, and thus is also a popular outlier score in anomaly detection. The larger the distance to the KNN, the lower the local density, the more likely the query point is an outlier. Although quite simple, this outlier model, along with another classic data mining method, that is local outlier factor, works quite well, and also in comparison to more recent and more complex approaches according to a large scale experimental analysis. So let's move on to see how the algorithm works, the working rule of the KNN algorithm. The intuition behind the KNN algorithm is one of the simplest of all the supervised machine learning algorithms. It simply calculates the distance of a new data point to all other training data points. The distance can be of any type, example Euclidean or Manhattan or Mahalanobis distance, etc. It then selects the k nearest data points where k can be any integer. Finally, it assigns the data point to the class to which the majority of the k data points belong. Let's see this algorithm in action with the help of a simple example. Suppose you have a dataset with two variables, x1 and x2, which when plotted looks like the one in the following figure. That is, this is the value of category 1, this is the value of category 2. x1 is the independent variable or the input feature, x2 is the dependent variable or the response variable or the target variable. And this is a new data point, say from the validation or the testing set. Remember, these two are of these two, category 1, category 2, these data points are plotted from training sets. Let's pick a value of k, that is, say k equal to 5. Remember, k means k refers to the number of neighbors, nearest neighbors. Take the k nearest neighbors of the new data point according to their Euclidean distance. That is, we choose k, that is 5 data points which are closest to this data point. That is, here these two data points from category 2 and these 3 data points from category 1 are closest to this new data point. Is it clear up to here? Then among these neighbors, count the number of data points in each category and assign the new data point to the category where you counted the most neighbors. That is, from category 2 we get 2 votes, and category 1, from category 1 we get 3 votes. That is, these among these 5 nearest neighbors, 3 belong to category 1 and 2 belong to category 2. So this new data point will be classified into category 1. It is very simple, as you can see. So how do we choose an optimum value of k? That is, here we had chosen k equal to 5, but in many problems the selection of k can be a major deciding factor. The best choice of k depends upon the data. Generally, larger values of k reduces effect of the noise on the classification generally, but make boundaries between classes less distinct. A good k can be selected by various heuristic techniques. The special case where the class is predicted to be the class of the closest training sample is called the nearest neighbor algorithm. The accuracy of the KNN algorithm can be severely degraded by the presence of noisy or irrelevant features, or if the feature scales are not consistent with their importance. Much research effort has been put into selecting or scaling features to improve classification. Particularly popular approach is the use of evolutionary algorithms to optimize feature scaling. Another popular approach is to scale features by the mutual information of the training data with the training classes. In binary, that is two-class classification problems, it is helpful to choose k to be an odd number, as this avoids tied votes. One popular way of choosing the empirically optimal k in this setting is via bootstrap method, that is selection of some samples from the entire training samples. So this is all about the theory behind KNN algorithm and its working principle. That is how the KNN algorithm actually works. That is, we plot the features of input features, the training data points, and also we plot the new data point. We choose a value of k, say here k equal to 5. We choose 5 neighbors which are closest to this data point. As among the 5 neighbors, majority belong to class 1, so this new data point is classified to be in category 1. So what are the pros and cons of KNN? In this section, we'll present some of the pros and cons of using the KNN algorithm. Pros. What are the advantages of KNN algorithm? Why should we use KNN algorithm? First of all, it is extremely simple to implement and visualize. As we have just seen, we just have to calculate the distance of the new data point from each of the existing data points. It is as simple as that. As said earlier, it is lazy learning algorithm and therefore requires no training prior to making real life predictions. This makes the KNN algorithm much faster than other algorithms that require training. Example, SVM, linear regression, etc. Since the algorithm requires no training before making predictions, new data can be added seamlessly. It is a very seamless process. There are only two parameters required to implement KNN. That is the value of k, or the number of nearest neighbors, and the distance, that is Euclidean or Manhattan or Minkowski or say Mahalanobis distance, etc. These two are the parameters. What are the disadvantages of using KNN algorithm? The KNN algorithm doesn't work well with high dimensional data, as we have discussed before, because with large number of dimensions, it becomes difficult for this algorithm to calculate distance in each dimension. It becomes a very complex method. The KNN algorithm has a high prediction cost for large data sets. This is because in large data sets, the cost of calculating distance between new point and each existing point becomes higher. That is, KNN works best with a limited number of input features and a small data set, relatively small data set. Finally, the KNN algorithm doesn't work well with categorical features since it is difficult to find the distance between dimensions with categorical features. It works well with continuous features. That is, it doesn't work well if, say, the input feature, one of the input features is gender, that is male or female. It's calculating the distance does not mean anything in that sense. So this is all about the underlying theory behind KNN algorithm. Let's recap what we had just seen. So KNN algorithm is a supervised machine learning algorithm. It is quite simple. There is no definite model for representing a KNN algorithm. That is, it is represented by the entire training set. The entire training set is used for training the algorithm. These are some of the distance metrics used for KNN algorithm, like Hamming distance, Manhattan, Minkowski distance. KNN is used for classification as well as regression, but we will mainly focus on classification as KNN is very rarely used for regression purposes. We have to prepare the data for KNN, that is, we have to scale the data, impute the missing values in the data, and lower the dimensionality in the data, since KNN works best with a limited number of input features and small number of small training data. So this is how the training algorithm works, the working principle of the KNN algorithm. And at last, we discussed the pros and cons of KNN. So that's all for now. In the next video, we'll implement a KNN algorithm using sklearn library in Python and see how to choose the optimum value of k and all. So thank you.